Hey, what you reading for?
Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk about books, literary, horror, classics, and contemporary. In this video, I want to tell you about a few horror releases that are set to come out in 2025. Horror releases that I am excited about. Please remember to hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Your support is what keeps the channel going. Speaking of support, this video is brought to you by EDIFICE COMPLEX. An Algerian immigrant in Paris loses his grip on reality when he develops an obsessive erotic relationship with a residential building set for demolition. EDIFICE COMPLEX, redefining what is meant by homesick. This is my latest novel. It is available from Amazon as an ebook or paperback. I think it's a good book if you like your books dark and weird. And it's a great way to support the channel. I do not have a Patreon account. I'm a writer. Presumably you are a reader. If you want to support the channel, buy yourself one of my books. Enjoy it. Leave a review. And I am very grateful. Thank you. Now, let's skip the intro sequence and dive straight in. Starting off my list of new horror releases I am excited about is When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. Now, this is set for an April 22nd release. I do have an advanced reader copy. I am currently reading this book. I'm almost finished. I should finish in the next day or two. So if you follow me on Goodreads, I should be posting my review the next few days. And I will post a video review of this book as the publication date approaches. This was my first experience with Nat Cassidy and his work. I heard many good things. People are talking about him on booktube and other platforms. So I was excited to read his work. But, and then I saw that he had a new book coming out, so I figured I'd start there. He is clearly clearly a very good writer, and I'm enjoying this book. So I will definitely be going through his older books as well too. I'm not going to stop here with When the Wolf Comes Home. I don't want to say too much about the plot. I do feel like it would be easy to go into spoiler territory there. I will say there's quite a bit of blood and violence and monsters and such, but it doesn't really read like a horror book, I think. I mean, there's nothing really scary or creepy. It's more of a young woman and this little boy. They go on the run. So they're trying to survive on the run, on the lam, as it were. So there's a lot of action in it and character development, but it doesn't really read like a horror book, in my opinion. But I do think it's very good. Next up, Nowhere Burning by Catriona Ward. I'm very excited for this book. It's set to come out on October 7th. Now, this channel is very pro Catriona Ward. In fact, she's written five books. This will be her sixth book. I've read all five. I've liked them all. In fact, I have a video where I rank them according to my personal preferences. But she is an author that I will just read blindly. I don't need to know what the book is about. I see it has Catriona Ward's name on it. I'm going to read it, and I'm highly confident that I'm going to like it. I do have a preference for her historical fiction horror, her first two books, Raw Blood and Little Eve, but I also like her contemporary work. Nowhere Burning is set in the unforgiving maw of the Rocky Mountains. I've never been to the Rocky Mountains. I have seen pictures. It looks fascinating. And in fact, I set one of my books in the Rocky Mountains as well, Delirium's Muse. Just fascinating place that I've never been to. A refuge for lost children may also be their prison. In the middle of the night, Riley pulls her younger brother Oliver out of bed, and the two run away from home. Riley is intent on joining a group of teenagers squatting in the abandoned ruins of an infamous movie star's ranch. Nowhere. For actor Leif Winham, Nowhere was a place to hide from his fame and to hide his crimes, until a fire ravaged his home and exposed him as a murderer. It is rumored that the ranch, nestled in the peaks of the Rocky Mountains, is now home to a group of feral children, a place where adults cannot enter. And Riley hopes to find a new family there, but the nowhere kids are fierce in defending their turf and their clan. And Riley quickly realizes that while she and Oliver may have left the devil they knew, this group is a new type of diabolical. Okay, so the blurb doesn't really speak to me. A lot of children. Really don't care about children. But like I said, I'll read anything Karim Award puts out. I'm sure this book is going to be excellent. Coming out October 7th. I don't know if I'm going to want to wait until October 7th. I'll try to get my hands on a copy sooner. We'll see. Next up, we have Lucky Day by Chuck Tingle, and this is set for an August 12th release. Now, I have not read Chuck Tingle before, but several viewers of this channel have recommended his work to me, so I am eager to check him out. In fact, I think his last book was Bury Your Gaze, which I was put off by the title, but people have told me that it's really good. So I was going to read that, but he's got this new book coming out, so I'll read that one instead. A global disaster prompts thousands of comically unlikely deaths. A bisexual statistics professor who has convinced herself she might not exist, and an ethically dubious government agent must travel to Las Vegas to unravel the connection between deadly bouts of absurdity and a supernaturally lucky casino. Okay, once again, we have an example of a blurb not at all speaking to me. However, the viewers of the channel are speaking to me, have spoken to me, and they say that they like Chuck Tingle and that I would probably like Chuck Tingle too. Only way to find out is to dive in and read one of his books. Might as well be Lucky Day. We'll see how it works out. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to discover this author whom I've heard so many good things about. Also coming out in October 7th, is Her Wicked Roots by friend of the channel, Tanya Pell. Now, I do believe that this is Tanya Pell's first novel. I read, last year I read one of her novellas, Cicada, which was a fun, nostalgia, B-movie kind of novella. And she's a very good writer. She's also a lovely person. So this is her first novel, and it's with a big publisher, and I will be rooting for its success. And what it's about, let's hear from the author herself.
I don't know if we're not breaking news here on this channel, but congratulations are in order, I think.
Yes, thank you.
Because I don't know when this happened, but I found out about it recently. You have just signed a two-book deal with
two-book deal with Gallery Simon and Schuster.
Fantastic.
So thank you. The first book, Her Wicked Roots, comes out October 7th of 2025.
Her Wicked Roots. I like that title.
Her Wicked Roots. It is a gothic tale, loosely based off of the short story Rappaccini's Daughter by Nathaniel Hawthorne.
Okay, which I'm not familiar with.
So heavy gothic, light body horror.
Okay.
All dark and secretive. Expect many candles in dark hallways and lush reclusive gardens, and
all right.
so much darkness.
I'm not familiar with this Nathaniel Hawthorne classic, but like I said, this is a debut novel, I want to say, from friend of the channel, Tanya Pell, and it's being put out by Gallery Press, and they're a big publisher, a division of an imprint of Simon and Schuster. And so I'm excited for this book. I'll be reading it when it comes out, and I will be rooting for its success. Next up, we have The Unworthy by Agustina Basterica. Now, this book technically already came out 2 years ago, I want to say. But Agustina Basterica is from Argentina, so she writes in Spanish. But now the English translation is coming out September 1st. And from Agustina Basterica, I read Tender as the Flesh. It was a big hit, and I quite liked that one. So I'm definitely up for reading something else from her. The story takes place in a mysterious convent. That's a nice setting. Outside, the world is plagued by catastrophe. Cities are submerged underwater. Electricity and the internet are non-existent. And bands of survivors fight and forage in a cruel, barren landscape. Inside, the narrator is controlled, punished, but safe. So much like Tender is the Flesh, here we have a dystopian kind of novel. I feel like in 2024 I read quite a lot of dystopian. Maybe like 8 or 9 dystopian novels. Probably more dystopian than I should probably be consuming, given the current state of things. The current state of things for me. Dystopia is not really my go-to genre, but for whatever reason I've been reading a lot of it recently. A stranger makes her way past the convent walls, joins the ranks of the unworthy, and she forces the narrator to consider her long-buried past and what she may be overlooking about the enlightened. As the two women grow closer, the narrator is increasingly haunted by questions about her own past, the environmental future, and her present life inside the convent. How does she get to the sacred sisterhood? Why can't she remember her life before? And what really happens when a woman is chosen as one of the enlightened? So this is supposedly a dystopian tale about climate crisis, ideological extremism, and the tidal pole of our most violent, exploitative instincts. So again, this is an example of a blurb that's not really speaking to my reading preferences, but based on the strength of Tender is the Flesh, I'm going to be giving this one a look. Next up, The Unseen by Anya Alborn, and this is set to come out August 19th. Now, I read years and years ago, I read Brother by Anya Alborn. I thought that was excellent. And I had been wanting, I've also read another one of her books, The Pretty Ones, I want to say, which was like a homage to Psycho. And I didn't really care for it too much. I didn't hate it, didn't love it, but Brother I loved. I think it's excellent. Excellent Appalachian horror, brutal, realistic and brutal, but with heart somehow. She's a very, very good writer, very good storyteller. So I've been wanting to read more from her. I just never got around to it, but I'm going to get around to reading this one. Isla Hansen, a mother reeling from a devastating loss, is beside herself when a mysteriously orphaned child appears on the outskirts of the Hansens' secluded Colorado property. Again, Colorado is a great place for horror, apparently. The Unseen is a haunting tale that walks the line between the familiar and the unknown, drawing us into a chilling narrative where reality itself feels just out of reach. So, I am not a big fan of reality, so this book promises that reality will be out of reach, so I'm happy about that. It's got a haunting kind of vibe to it. I like hauntings. I don't like ghosts, but I do like haunted house, like sentient houses I like. And based on the strength of Brother, I'm excited to read another book by Anya Alborn. Also coming out with books in 2025, Grady Hendrix, Stephen Graham Jones, Christopher Golden, Joe Hill, Ronald Malfi, Chuck Wendig, Eric LaRocca, and Stephen King. So there's going to be a lot of great horror in 2025. It might even be the best year of horror in the 21st century. Maybe. Do you have any experience with the authors I talked about in this video? Are you excited about these new releases as much as I am? I always enjoy connecting with you in the comment section. Thank you for watching. I'll see you at the next video. Meow. Meow.